Hello.
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 Welcome to the.
Wait, don't go live yet because I'm about to say.
Oh, excuse me.
It's too late. Although I don't get a clear indicator of your event is starting. I don't know if we're already live or if just says
I'll
starting.
check.
Hopefully this isn't
I'll see.
too embarrassing.
We are 100% live.
Okay.
We are 100%.
Hey, there we are. Hey everyone, welcome.
That's a thing.
This is a thing. This is Farm to Tower. I almost said Farm to Table again.
Dude, farm to table.
I am Alex O'Neill, your moderator this evening for this cross-pollinational Destiny 2 podcast. So I will be moderating. And joining me tonight, we have Cameron Abbott.
Hello!
The naughtiest of gamers. I would say tied up, naughty, very sensual. Alex Van Aken, the Beast's Pulse. Still sticking with that hard branding. And Griffin Guccione.
Yeah, that's me, baby.
The namer, the greatest namer, brand manager.
Brand manager / Crucible player around.
So this is the inaugural episode of our new show, kind of bringing in all lovers of Destiny from all walks of life. It's all about Destiny, specifically Destiny 2. I doubt we will be talking too much about original Destiny here, maybe for comparison's sake. So if you are probably not a fan of Destiny, I'm gonna let you know this is gonna be some inside fucking baseball. So just prepare yourself. If you don't know what light level means, you should just turn off the video and walk away. We're gonna kind of be playing a little fast and loose here. This is the first episode. We'll be testing some stuff out, maybe some segment ideas. Gonna try and keep it within an hour, especially because Alex was wonderful enough to make time for us tonight, even though he's got to go and then record another podcast immediately after this.
It's all good. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So we're gonna kick things off with just a little general chatter. We'll probably be joined in future episodes by other podcast hosts, other folks from the internet, and fans of Destiny 2 and Destiny in general. So for this week, this is the panel. And one other thing, it will be going up bi-weekly live on Irrational Passions YouTube channel, youtube.com/Irrational Passions, and then probably going up elsewhere afterwards. So feel free to tune in, check it out anywhere you got, tell your friends about it. All right, let's go right into the Destiny. Who wants to kick us off? How are we feeling? Also, let's start with you, Griffin. How do you feel about Destiny 2? As a big fan of Destiny 1, how do you feel about Destiny 2?
As someone that played 1,600 hours of Destiny 1.
A few.
Yeah, just a few hours.
Yeah.
I can say that Destiny 2 is a significant improvement on Destiny 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything that we wanted to see from Destiny 1. You could even say that it takes the things that failed in Destiny 1 and really just kind of highlights them and makes them really big wins. Like storytelling, that's a thing that we just didn't see in Destiny 1 at all. You can say what you will about they didn't in the DLC, but this game from the get-go has a balanced PvP, has a great story to it, has a really engaging, fun to play story. It has tank missions.
Yep.
Which is lit.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can't tell me you don't like tank missions. I know you all played Halo 3.
Yeah.
It just has it's a really, really good game. You can't even say that it's a better Destiny game. It's just a good game. Which is something that you just couldn't say about vanilla Destiny 1.
I agree. Implicitly.
Vanilla Destiny 1, no. I don't think you could.
Yeah. I think and we talked a little bit about this on Irrational Passions podcast last night, which is 344 for folks' reference if y'all want to track down our initial thoughts Destiny conversation. There's a lot of improvement. You can see where ideas manifested in The Taken King and then just continued on into what Destiny 2 is, for sure. And there's a lot of course correcting that started then and is this is it coming to fruition. Mm-hmm. Alex, how do you feel? Alex Van Aken, how do you feel about Destiny 2?
Yeah, so I was a big Destiny 1 player for the first 2 weeks of the game, and then I ran out of content.
With everyone else, yeah.
Yeah, with everyone else. And I think when Destiny 1 came out, I just moved to Colorado from Virginia, and I didn't have a job yet, so literally all day long Destiny 1. I beat everything, and then was just playing Crucible over and over. I was like, I think I'm done with this game. And I did not. I beat it and stopped before the first raid came out, Vault of Glass. And so my biggest gripes with Destiny 1 are the lack of story, like a lot of people, and also like the general qualms with the game I kind of share with everybody. Lack of content, lack of story, and just like a general like lostness. I don't know. It just seemed like it lacked a lot of vision and like structure. And I feel like Destiny 2 right off the bat fixes pretty much every problem I had with Destiny 1. Of course, there are new things to talk about that could be improved, but I think like just from like first 10 hours, granted I'm more into that. I'm more into Destiny 2 than that, but first 10 hours, like I feel like a player would come in and realize, man, there's a lot. They've improved this game quite a bit. And I almost didn't get Destiny 2 because of my experience with Destiny 1, and I'm really glad I did.
Yeah, so there's like maybe some technical difficulties going on. Trying to get some feedback from the chat right now. Yeah, I definitely, for me, just like throw my hat in the ring, like Destiny 1, I got a lot of vibes from the beta, the alpha and beta that was out about it, and like I kind of saw, this seems like there might not be more to this than what I'm seeing here. I got kind of cold feet from playing that beta, where I was really, really excited about it before, and then I just was like completely out. And I'm like really glad that I skipped it, and I ended up coming in at Taken King, so in year 2 Destiny, which is quote unquote when it got good. So I got essentially the best original Destiny experience anyone could have, where I started at Taken King, and I just got to play through all of original Destiny and then all of Taken King there, and then all of the other raids and content that came before it, and then worked myself up to King's Fall and Trials of Osiris and Iron Banner. Like, so it was just overwhelming amounts of content for me. And then obviously just jump back in for Rise of Iron, which felt like a good, fun, not necessarily minimal late game expansion, but like a significant one. And Destiny 2 for sure has impressed me. Cameron, how do you feel about Destiny 2?
So it's important to note that I had sworn off console gaming prior to Destiny. I said I was done with the upgrade of the iterations of the consoles. I wasn't going to go past 360 PS3 era. I was going to dedicate myself solely towards PC gaming. So
like a significant
for me, what caused me to actually end up saying, okay, well, I need to play consoles is because of Destiny. I played the beta for Destiny on PS3 and had such a good time with it that I said, okay, well, I want to do this. And then they're like, oh, by the way, you can't transfer your stuff over from console to console. And so I said, fuck. And I didn't start off from launch with Destiny. I started playing Destiny because I got my PS4 sometime after The Dark Below had launched. So that's the first little packet of DLC that they gave out. And by then, actually, all my friends who had played Destiny Vanilla from launch had already burnt out. And I was the one that got them coming back into it. Me grabbing my close friends got their PSN friends who they made through Destiny to say, oh, like, you guys are playing Destiny again. Is there like new content? No, we're just running through a new player. And I got people reactivated back into Destiny. Yeah. So I have a very close, near and dear close connection to Destiny 1. That being said, Destiny 1 has a lot of issues, and I was so happy to see Destiny 2 come out and say, we understood what our issues were. What you saw with pacing and storytelling that you saw in the last 2 expansions, which were Taken King and Rise of Iron, what you saw with these more in-depth personal tellings of what the story is, that really actually started a little bit in House of Wolves, and then really kind of took off in The Taken King. Was just so good. It was so good to see this happen. Destiny 2 from the get-go feels like right off the bat, like didn't miss a step, didn't miss a beat. We're shooting out. So starting off saying like vanilla Destiny 2, it feels like this is the next step. This is the next expansion. This is the next iteration of Destiny versus then a true sequel to me.
Really?
I do. And I think that's because I don't have like the start comparison of to vanilla. I'm making the comparison of I stopped playing Destiny like maybe like 2 months ago.
Okay.
I played a lot of Destiny 1 in my time that I had it. There wouldn't be a week go by where I didn't play Destiny. And so for me to now say, okay, it feels like it didn't miss a step. I felt like the moment came where I saw my Guardian. And I'm like, oh, I don't remember having this armor set on. These are different weapons than the ones I had on last time. I chortle. Yeah. But it felt like I was coming back into the tower just like usual, and then having everything like go to hell as it does at the beginning of the game. So it felt really personal and very natural and very, very, very good. So story-wise, it's been really great. I will say from the get-go, having PvP be as balanced as it is fantastic.
Yes. So good.
Like I'm blown away by like how good and how seamless they made that transition feel for me. This transition from late Rise of Iron to, or also known as the Age of Triumph DLC release pack, to Destiny 2 feels like a very seamless transition. And I think there's been a lot of criticism from it saying, well, it feels like it's Destiny 1.5. And I feel like that's a benefit. That it feels that smooth of a transition from Destiny to Destiny 2 is not something that a lot of sequels can say they can do.
Yeah, and Destiny's very much going for a different thing to like thinking, if you take that step back and think about like how special Destiny is and how unique it is, like kind of you really want to hold on to all the things, because Destiny really is unlike any other video game, and you really want to hold on to those aspects. So it being maybe more similar than most sequels isn't necessarily a detraction, because it's holding on to all the great parts about the original Destiny, the uniqueness, the quirkiness.
And really kind of took off, and it just feels great. I love how they made in-jokes, by the way. I just want to give a quick shout out. I love all the in-jokes to them saying, like, we didn't bring back the voice actors of your Guardians.
Yeah.
Like all the times like you're going to talk and then the ghost talks for you.
Yeah.
And like if you don't have your helmet on, like the looks that you give your ghost are some really like nasty looks.
Yeah, it's really good.
And it's great.
Not only that, but like there's like, I don't know, just like a small thing I want to address. Like a lot of people complain that like, oh, Destiny 2 feels like Destiny, you know, like you said, Cam, 1.5. And we're like, no one goes into the movie theater and sees Iron Man 2 and they're like, yeah, fuck that movie. It was too much like Iron Man. Well, yeah, it's the same goddamn characters. Like, what did you want? Yeah. Like, this is a sequel. It's literally called Destiny 2. Of course they're going to reference, of course it's going to be like Destiny 1. Nobody played Halo 2 and was like, wow, man, too much Master Chief. Like, what did you want? Like, you know, what did you want, really?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, like, that's a big complaint. Yeah. Did you want a different series? Like, did you want them to make a whole new game? Like, really, you know.
And this isn't a sequel that takes place years after the original. It's meant to feel, and they made it very purposeful. It feels like, oh, this is like another day as being a Guardian. You're coming back to the tower after a mission. And, like, it happened. Like, this game-changing event happened. It's supposed to feel shocking and out of nowhere because you weren't prepared for it. Because, as I will probably be talking later on, the end of Destiny 1 wasn't really an age of triumph. It was an age of hubris. It was, story-wise, we are so, like, ready to be, like, in this new golden age. And we weren't prepared for what that actually meant. And this is what it actually means. And that's how you have the Red War start. And it's good. And it's a great, seamless transition. To say that it's like Destiny 1.5, it's good that it does that, because otherwise, well, how many years has it been? It doesn't matter. No, it's been days. It's been days since Destiny 1. It's not like we're not talking like God of War 1 to God of War 2. Kratos has been like God of War for like 12 years or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Some indiscriminate amount of time.
Yeah, some indiscriminate amount of time. Literally, it's day to day.
Yeah.
And you played your last adventure in Destiny 1 the day before Destiny 2 launched and went live. bam, that's it.
It's smart too. It plays the cool things about Destiny 2, like narratively, is it plays into what it is and how it fits into like the world and systems of Destiny. Of like you said, Cam, like you were just going on some random dumb mission. You're probably coming back from orbit because you spent way too much time in orbit, and like you lost all your loot because the tower actually literally got blown up and like the vault was destroyed and things like that. So like they play up and play into the right things. For me, like Destiny 2, it's really hard. Like I said, holding on to the unique parts of Destiny and still making a game that making a game that is approachable for people who've never played Destiny, but also make a game for the people like all four of us that put 100+ hours into Destiny 1 or did all the raids and did everything.
100?
I mean, like, listen, man, I put 160 hours. You put like 1,600. Tomato.
I don't. How do you even know how much time you put in Destiny?
Time wasted on Destiny.com.
Yeah.
1 sec. We're gonna figure this out.
Which is down right now, I think, still because they're updating for Destiny 2. So, but I also like think the opening of Destiny 2 is very good, where it gives you all these like still cards of the big events from your game of Destiny 1, like when you first beat the game, when you first beat Vault of Glass and King's Fall and things like that. It's funny because like Cameron is in like my first I think it was the when I finished House of Wolves, like whatever the end story mission for that was, like you were there with me for that. And like Damien, a friend from Twitter, he like tweeted out his memory for Wrath of the Machine, and it was our Extra Life raid. It's like the raid that almost killed all of Irrational Passions. It's like, yeah,
I was watching that. That was brutal.
It almost killed all of us.
Like,
I
I
wasn't
literally
even
cried
drinking,
during that.
and it almost killed me.
Yeah,
it broke us. That broke us. Oh, by the way, I've wasted 466 hours on Destiny.
Yeah, so there you go. So like there is really cool stuff, and at the end of all those slides, it's like press X to start a new adventure, and it's like, oh, okay, well, cool. It's like we're not forgetting the past. It's just like we're doing something new now. I want to kind of go around also and get for viewers and listeners, like how far are you into Destiny 2? What's your level? What's your power level or light level? Which, just for people's reference, most of us are just going to refer to it as light level, even though it is technically power, because like. Whatever. So Alex, I don't know. I know the least about your time with Destiny, Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. So I'm just curious, where are you at in Destiny 2? What's your level? What have you done? What have you got left?
So I actually typed in time wasted on Destiny. It worked for me. Apparently, I spent 40 hours on Destiny 1, so not that long.
Okay.
Comparatively to you guys. Destiny 2, I'm only halfway through the story though. I love Destiny's Crucible mode. I've been like a Bungie player since they released Halo on Xbox, and I always love their shooters. So that's like one of the first things I do is jump into multiplayer. And so I've kind of been balancing between the two, doing public events here and there and leveling up that way. I'm at power level, light level, whatever. I think 210. And I am a warlock, and I'm mostly playing as a Dawnblade, but I've unlocked all 3 of my subclasses, and I'm going to be switching soon to the Tickle Fingers, the lightning guy.
Tickle Fingers.
Yeah,
that's
right. Thank NATO for that one.
I usually call it the Sith Lord, but Tickle Fingers is so much better.
Tickle Fingers is 10 out of 10 right there.
Yeah.
We usually, in my circle of group, we just call it the Palpatine.
Yeah. That works too.
Or the Palp for short. But I think Tickle Fingers is far better.
Yeah, for sure. Apparently, NATO's got some good names out there too.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm about to switch to that subclass just for it's got a lot more mobility in Crucible, and so I always feel like I'm tied down as a Dawnblade, and I'm either wasting time chasing somebody. Like if I happen to pop it early or I pop it right on time and they like dodge away, I want to be able to chase them, right? And I feel like that subclass kind of lends it more so to that play style, more of a mobile play style. But yeah.
Sure. Griffin. Mr. like 400 hours into Destiny 2 already somehow.
Yeah, so I've beaten the story and gotten to level 20 on 2 characters now. Both of them are 282 light now, because I only play Hunter, so all my gear transfers over 1-to-1. I usually play Gunslinger. I put up a little YouTube video on Twitter highlighting a few like little cool Gunslinger things that I was doing. Yeah, throwing knives. The throwing knives are OP. They're not actually. They're really hard to use. But yeah, I've been playing through obviously, a lot of the content. I'm like significantly deep into the content. I've beaten both the Nightfalls, gotten most of my exotic quests done on both characters. Really just hardcore deep already into Destiny. I'm already raid ready, which is fun to say.
So what's your plan? Like, I know we're kind of doing intros, but just real quick, what's your 10-day plan look like for Destiny 2?
Make my 3rd hunter and get to 290 by the time the raid drops.
Okay.
So it's like
why 3 hunters?
So I'll talk about it in a little on how to get to max light faster. But the fact, well, one, I like the hunter the most, the movement, the mobility, the subclasses, everything about him. I think that in a very real way in Destiny 2, if you're new to Destiny 2, it's better to pick a Titan. I'll just put that out there. But the fact that the gear can transfer over 1-to-1 really just allows you to hit a light level that is not possible to do in 1 week with 3 different characters using different classes.
Okay. Cool.
And to answer your question, Nato, yes, I have done the Rat King quest. I have done all of the quests. The Rat King quest specifically is hard to do because you have to finish it by doing the Nightfall with 5 minutes left in a 10-minute timer. So,
dang.
Good God.
Yeah.
Cameron, what about you?
Yeah. I got distracted by watching Griffin be good looking and talking about the Hunter Master Race. But it's just like what my plan is with Destiny 2, or
where are you at in Destiny 2? What's your
where am I at?
What
So I've only been working on one character because I have things to do in my life that's required that I do.
Hey, I resent that. I do things too.
Yeah.
I of course I chose to make this like the busiest semester that I've ever had, working and going to school and doing everything else in my life. But I've beaten the story. I'm light level 243 right now. I'm just grinding my way up through. Hopefully later I can get some tips. Maybe we can all get some tips, hint, from Griffin about raising our light level. Or power level, however you want to say it. We're just going to call it light level because we're...
Like I said, that's why I put the disclosure up front. Like, who cares?
Like, yeah. This is inundated. You can't just say it's power level now.
Yeah, we've been here for like 3 years for some of us, 2 years for some of us. Like, we're in this. We in here, boys.
But yeah, no, I've just been grinding away trying to keep myself from getting too bored. So I've been bouncing around. I've been doing strikes. I will be doing Crucible. I'll do, like little things here and there, adventures, post main story quests. Each of these zones has a post main story quest. So I've just been doing those. Started doing the EDZ one right now. Just trying to make my way through, just getting up those reputations. It's way easier to get reputation this time around. Just with all the tokens that get dropped. And so running around doing public events, things like that really are like my goal of just trying to like gather as much loot as possible to raise that light level as quickly as possible to get raid ready. Cause I want to start launching into raids as soon as possible.
Yeah. Real quick, just as an aside, before I talk about kind of where I'm in Destiny 2, Alex, have you done any of the raids in Destiny before?
No, this is going to be my first raid. So I'm really excited.
Very excited.
Sacre bleu.
Very exciting. The raids are for sure like my favorite part about Destiny 1.
I've heard that from like everybody.
Yeah, and so like
I'm stoked.
The raids just as are like hands down my favorite cooperative video game experiences ever in any video game ever. As far as like working with other people to accomplish a goal, and like Griffin's done raids with me, like, you know, even like as you're more into the PvP aspect of things, Griffin, like I think even you enjoy the raids.
I enjoyed like 3 of them. There was 2 I really didn't like, being the first and the last one.
Oh, you don't like Wrath of the Machine?
No.
Okay. I'm
Any of us like Wrath of the Machine after that extra life stream?
That's still my favorite one. So I never got to do King's Fall with you, so I never got to do the one that you liked. So
yeah, King's Fall being my favorite one, my raid group was 1 minute off of the world record raid time.
Yeah, which was crazy.
Wow.
But so I just looked it up real quick because Wasted on Destiny is back up. I had 127 hours into Destiny 1, which is not bad. All right.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
As someone who came in at year 2, and no one will be here where Griffin is, but and
Listen.
I did at least get a second character to raid level, which I'm proud of. I'll take what I can get. It's funny because like you can see hours per character, and my warlock, my main character, has 119, and my titan has 7. It's like, and he's still like 360 light and really powerful. So I am 7 hours apparently into Destiny 2. I feel like I've played more than that, but
I think my timer was a bit off as well.
Yeah.
Cameron, really quick, just question: how many hours did you say that you had?
I think I said 466.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fun between the 2 Alexes, I've deleted more hours on characters that I've deleted than you guys have played on Destiny 1. And Cameron, on my 3rd hunter, the one that I only use for Trials of Osiris and the raid, I have more hours on Destiny than you.
That's crazy.
That is a lot of Destiny, man. That's a lot of Destiny.
Yeah.
That's why Griffin's on this podcast. By the way, if like we're gonna have a Destiny podcast, like it'd be weird to just not have Griffin there. But
I think Griffin would legitimately get very, very, very upset if we had a Destiny podcast.
Absolutely, rightfully so.
I wouldn't not fly to Maryland and beat Alex's times.
I wouldn't do you like that, Griff. I just want to let you know I wouldn't do you like that.
No, I appreciate it.
But so yeah, I would guess about halfway through the story in Destiny 2, level 14. I am 138 light.
How many planets have you unlocked?
Yeah, what's the last planet you were on?
I have unlocked the 3rd one.
Yeah, so you're right about to go to Io.
Well, I'm still like I can't even like free explore the 3rd one. So
yeah,
okay.
So you met you met Failsafe already, though, right?
Yeah, I met Failsafe.
He's done with Nessus. I think he's just going to Ikora's planet now, Io.
No, so I'm still like in the beginning parts of Nessus. That mission I did on Nessus, Griffin, like the one mission.
Is that where you stopped?
That's where I stopped because I was doing some other stuff when I streamed a little bit. But I haven't played much past that, so I'm really just down taking my time. Because
I think you're already level 14 though.
Yeah, because I've done a lot of adventures.
Okay, so you will not have you'll be able to blaze through the story then.
Yeah, like I'm not worried about level or anything. So
Io has 2 missions on it. That's it, and then you'll have I think 2 or 3 missions on Earth before the last mission. So you're more than halfway through.
Okay. Which is a little bummer, but I know there's like way more stuff after that. The adventures, the side quests, I've been having a lot of fun with. So I'm just taking my time and having a really great time. Because I didn't get it until Friday, also.
Yeah.
So I that's when I put most of my time into it, and just immediately very, very impressed with everything Destiny 2 is kind of laying out there. But
it should be noted that while Destiny's story isn't long, it's actually pretty short. It's super just like good. Every part of it is great.
Real good. There's like a lot of character development.
Yes.
They're like Gaul, the villain, is like fucking phenomenal. Like he's super Darth
100%.
Vader. And I'm like super into it. There's like a whole Death Star equivalent weapon. It's like a whole thing. It's a great time. As far as like I wouldn't call it like a 10 out of 10 story. Like I'm not like sitting there crying at the end of it, or I don't expect to be. But I like as far as like a big space adventure story, it is honestly one of my favorites so far.
Yeah, I'm stealing from a Nerd Writer video essay, and he compares it to Batman vs Superman. But Destiny 1 tried to go for these huge moments without like giving you the scenes to build them up and to make them worthwhile and for the payoff.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Destiny 2, there are like those little scenes, the banter between characters, whatever it is. And I feel like it makes the moments in the game like so much greater, and they like really pay off.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. This is not too deep into the story, but like the first interaction between the Speaker and Gaul, the villain,
so good,
is just like phenomenal. And it's cool because like I didn't think the Speaker isn't in any of the DLC for Destiny 1. Like he's not in Taken King at all. He's not in Rise of Iron at all. And it's like Bill Nighy is the voice actor for him, so it's like a pretty high-paid voice actor. So I'm like, I don't know if we're ever going to hear from the Speaker ever again. But they brought him back for this, and I think he does a really great job.
He kills it. He kills it. The interactions between the Speaker and Gaul are just like some of the best character moments in all of Destiny, period. It's very good. I think it's a disservice to call Gaul like Darth Vader like. Maybe that's the case where you're at right now, Alex, but the depth that Gaul has as the villain character, which Destiny, honestly, villain characters usually don't get that much depth at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where like in the Wrath of Machine, there's literally zero character to the final boss.
Yeah.
So it's to the point where to see so much investment into Gaul's character makes him a worthwhile adversary.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Also, like as an aside, Destiny's like big focus on story and narrative development makes me really excited to see how, if at all, that plays into the raid. Like if I have one complaint about the raids in Destiny 1, it's that like there's literally zero dialogue. The Ghost never speaks during any of the raids, and he's
really
kind of like,
wow.
He's kind of like the vehicle for a lot of the story. And
how do they like convey context to what you're doing?
They
in
don't.
Those, then?
Is the thing like
you get voiceover from whoever is to it. So
yeah,
Dark Below, you have Eris Morn talking to you. In House of Wolves, technically Prison of Elders is the raid for that, even though it's not an official raid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Skolas, the
Varix. Nice
Varix. Thank you. That's right. Varix is the member of the House of Judgment who guides you through that.
Okay.
I want to say Taken King is a combination of Eris Morn and actually Taken King. Now I think about it, doesn't have anybody narrate.
There's no dialogue.
There's no dialogue.
There's no dialogue in Taken King or Vault of
insane.
Glass or
Vault of Glass
Machine.
and Taken King or Wrath of the Machine.
Yeah.
They don't talk about what's happening.
Yeah.
Mainly because the raid is supposed to be something that like you figure out as you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be something that like it's not very clear as to what you're supposed to do. It's part of the mystery, part of the challenge to the raid is to figure out exactly what the hell am I supposed to be doing at this freaking boss fight.
Yeah.
So,
actually, now that I think about it, Eris Morn doesn't really outside of when you into the Dark Below, she doesn't talk after that because she says, "I won't be able to communicate with you beyond your own."
Yeah.
So
and then
she yells about some shit after you kill the singer, the Death Singer.
Yeah. That's true. She does.
That's about it.
So, like with Destiny 2, kind of like having a lot more context just for things, I'm curious to see if that plays into the raid at all. We don't know. Again, like right now at this time, we're kind of in the dark on things. But the raid comes out on Wednesday. This is being recorded on Sunday after Destiny releases. So we'll hopefully know soon. I'm just curious to get some feedback. I'm hoping to maybe go into the raid pretty blind. So, I do want to, like, there's a lot we have to talk about and not a lot of time, but obviously we're going to probably dedicate specific episodes to specific topics going forward was kind of what I had in mind. I think next time we will try and hopefully if all of us have played it, we will try and talk about the raid. We have a couple weeks before the next episode, so I do want to kind of go around. Everyone had some stuff that they did want to contribute to the larger Destiny conversation. I'm trying to decide, do we want to do our lore corner, or do we want to do how to be raid ready? I feel like we should close with how to be raid ready.
That's fine.
That's fine. I can so do we do
music talk with Alex Van Aken.
Yeah,
Al's audio corner.
Al's audio corner.
I don't know if you actually had an audio corner bit to work up here, Alex, but I'm down.
I didn't, but I did. I really did want to talk about the audio in the game.
Sure.
I mean, Destiny 1, like, it's no secret, like, the guns in that game sound phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, like, Destiny 1, granted, only played 40 hours of it, but the time I spent with the game, to me, the original soundtrack was, like, largely forgettable in comparison to Destiny 2. I think Destiny 1, it almost seemed like it seemed like B-sides from Halo to me. And Destiny 2, I feel like the first hour, there are two standout tracks that are just incredibly moving and emotional. The first one, everybody, like, this isn't a spoiler. It's like, if you know anything about Destiny 2, you know that you kind of lose your light at the very beginning, and it's your quest to get it back. And when that happens, the music that plays after you leave, it's just, I'm trying not to get too detailed in case people really care about, the small spoilers, but there is a scene like when you're walking through the wilderness, and you're kind of limping around. You're kind of on your own with your ghost, and there's just like this swelling violin and cello.
I hear it now.
It reminded me of The Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
I hear it now, Alex. Like, you're describing it, just like brought all the memory back to me. It's that good.
It was incredible. I literally just stopped and listened for about 5 minutes on like a non-combat area, and just listened to the music loop over and over. And then the main hub area, when you first get to it, it's called the farm. And it's yes. And even the music in that, there's like, I feel like the farm and that first 25 minutes or so of music are like super strong. And granted, where I'm at in the story, it's a lot of battle music, which doesn't necessarily resonate with me as much as like the softer, melodies and arrangements. But those, like, even just sitting at the farm listening to music, I feel like it's like very peaceful, almost like a Harvest Moon-y kind of thing. It just, the music seems like juxtaposed to the entire like space tone of the game. It almost seems like it's fantasy music. Like I said, like you would hear in a Witcher. And I think it just like makes a really awesome aesthetic, like audibly to the game.
Yeah, and it matches like Destiny's shtick more. Like, the whole thing is like you're space wizards, like you're space knights and wizards, and like you look at the naming of the Vex enemies of like hobgoblins and goblins and centaurs and minotaurs, and the naming of the the hive enemies. Jeez, took me a while to get. I got there. Of like wizards and acolytes and thralls, like they lean into like this. It's space fantasy in like a way that Star Wars isn't, right? Like Star Wars is space wizards as well, but like this is a totally different vibe.
I mean, you're running around with the swords and stuff.
Yeah,
it definitely references high fantasy quite a bit.
Yeah, and
Star Wars is like glorified space Christians.
Yeah, true.
Fair enough. That's
a totally fair comparison. So like Destiny, like being like space magic is, I don't know, it's really rad, and the music in this game seems to match that idea and concept way better than it has before, and it just makes that overall presentation a lot better. Like, I totally am with you, and like just like the music in that first mission when like the tower is falling, and for me, like my first moment when I was playing like the beta or the glorified demo was like when you do that first mission and you go out on Gaul's ship, and like you're out on the ship, on the top of the ship, and like just like the big horns are going, and it's like just super loud bombastic sound. It's like, man, this is just epic, and I'm feeling stuff in a story mission that I didn't feel in the original Destiny. It's very powerful.
And part of me thinks they might have actually turned the music up in the mix of the game. It just seems like way more prevalent, despite like even just having different arrangements. It just seems like everything's louder.
I think you're mistaking the fact that your brain isn't tuning it out now.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a good point.
It should be noted. Anybody who wants to know a lot more details about Destiny 1's very, very, very problematic development can read Jason Schreier's book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, like I did. And even if you can look up the articles as well that Jason Schreier's put out, because he's been covering Destiny and like what happened with Destiny for years now. they fired the composer got kicked out of the studio halfway through development. So the soundtrack is not as prevalent or great, I think, because they didn't have a lead composer.
Yeah.
So I think having a proper composition team and proper audio team this time around is also a big part of it. Yeah, definitely paid off. Also makes a huge difference because you have somebody who has an idea of where the music needs to lead.
Yeah, like just like having like the focused single director for Taken King helped focus that, and that leadership is what's helped Destiny the most for sure.
Yeah, that's all I had.
Cool. Let's take a pop into Lore Corner with Cameron Abbott. Cameron, give me just a little slice. Give me a little slice of that lore cheese. Tell me just.
Man, I'm gonna give you a good little lore nugget right now.
Okay.
So little lore nugget. Since this is the kickoff episode. It's also important that you hear the terms darkness and light thrown around a lot in Destiny. So this little lore nugget is brought to you by the light and the darkness. So it should be noted that these are very ambiguous terms on purpose. It's meant to create a sense of mythology in Destiny. It's important to note that Destiny is a post-apocalyptic world where a massive collapse of intergalactic society happened. And so more detailed knowledge of what actually happened, what the Traveler actually did, and the details about his power, and how like this quote-unquote science behind it isn't really a factor because you're dealing with what is essentially magic to people at this point. And it's important to note that the light refers to like the Traveler's ability to create, foster, and develop. The darkness, we know now from like all the DLCs and everything else, is an antithesis of that, and it's heavily referenced as like, well, the darkness is out there, like the darkness might return someday, all this stuff. However, we know from from sites like the Ishtar Collective, lore scholars out there, we know now, and from everything we've learned in the different codexes and everything else that we've found throughout the games, that what happened and what caused the collapse, it was essentially a pitched battle between the Traveler and the darkness. Which it's interesting to note that the Traveler, it's imperative for people to know that in this big epic fight where the darkness swept in to our Golden Age society, and the details are like this power and emphasis of force surrounded people and surrounded like everyone and like pulled the life out of them. And it's interesting that it's also noted in a very similar manner how the Hive like to strip the light from Guardians. Almost like it's cutting into them and pulling it out like subatomically, almost. It's a very, very gruesome kind of visual to get there. But essentially, the darkness just cut the life out of society, out of people, and caused this massive collapse. So whatever entity and force this was that the darkness is identified as, did that to countless worlds. Put humanity, and also humanity as a... I'll get into this later in another episode about what is quote-unquote humanity and what it refers to in the lore. But what it does to humanity is it wipes out humanity this way by stripping life from them. And happening is, we'll get into another lore piece later in the future. What caused the pitched battle between the Traveler and its light versus the darkness and the entity behind it. The Traveler won the fight. However, the Traveler may have won the fight, but it also was dying. And so what the Traveler decided to do, which is something the Traveler's never done before, is it sent off pieces of itself. And with its last action before it went into a deep, deep sleep, like unto death, was it created our ghosts. And the ghost's purpose was to go to all these dead people that were killed by the darkness all across the galaxy, all across our known pocket of the universe, and to find people who in their lifetime were worthy. And what makes a person worthy we'll go into in the future, of course, as well, and how it relates to Gaul and Destiny 2. And it finds individuals of worth and brings them back to life and infuses them with the Traveler's Light, making them guardians. So, to give a brief summary of everything that I just told you, when we refer to the light, it's referring to the Traveler's ability to create and foster life and change, and gives a sense of ability and almost like an insight into the nature of the universe and the metaphysical aspect of it. And the darkness is a counterbalance to that, which is it seeks to strip the light from everything. And of course, the creatures of the darkness, such as the Hive, are known to be notorious of that. So when we talk about the darkness and the creatures of the darkness, well, sometimes we like to lace the Cabal and the Fallen and the Vex all within the same kind of grouping of our enemies as being quote unquote the darkness. That's not actually the case, and we'll go more into that into the future. But with that, that's the end of the lore corner.
Boom.
Alex, back to you.
Become legend.
Become legend.
Find your destiny. Thank you, Cameron, for the very interesting lore. I like Destiny lore is actually very like super fascinating. But like I said to Cam before we started, it's like Destiny has a lot of great lore. It's just not in the game. And now Destiny
and there's
2,
a reason for that.
Yeah, and now Destiny 2 does have stuff in the game. So there you go. Yeah. I like also a fun fact about Destiny 2 lore is just like walking around and you can have your ghost inspect something and he'll just give you like some flavor text about it. It's like, oh, this is what this is and it's kind of cool for this reason. It's just like, oh, cool.
Yep.
That's neat.
Before that would have unlocked a card in your grimoire.
Exactly. It's like, oh, or you could just tell me. Like, oh, thanks. I appreciate you. Now let's all put on our learning hats and sit down with Griffin Senpai to learn how Griffin. I don't know what like lesson you want to focus in on here, but I think with the raid coming out this week, like how to get what the best way to get raid ready and what it means to be raid ready for the Leviathan, the first raid in Destiny 2. Take us through.
All right.
Griffin
so
Senpai.
When I talk about light, I don't mean any of that shit. I'm talking about bullet damage.
Average defense and attack. Let's go.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, good feeling time's over. It's time to talk about stats.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, all that great shit that's like moving and nice to talk about. Yeah, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about how much fucking damage you do. Yeah. All right. So, you load into the game, right? You start, you lose your light, you go through the missions, you beat that first area, and you should be somewhere around like I think like level 5. The first, so the main thing that you want to do is to get through the story as fast as possible, with doing as little side missions and as little milestones as you possibly can. You don't want to complete those, and I'll get into the reasons why in a second. So the first planet gates you at level 7, I believe. The next planet gates you at level 11, and then the third planet gates you at level 15. So you want to complete the planet as fast as possible, and then do public events or Crucible to get your light, your level. Not your light. To get your level up so that you can do the next set of story missions and complete those as fast as possible. While doing that, you're going to be slightly under light leveled to do the story missions. It just makes them a little bit harder. So if you're not super good at the game, like I soloed my way through, but I'm pretty damn good at Destiny. So if you're not as good at the game, I recommend doing it with a squad of 3 because the same enemies in the same quantities will appear, but you'll have 2 more people that can either revive you or help you do more damage. So make your way through the story. The last set of Earth missions gates you at level 15. I'm not going to talk about them because it's still week 1. Some people haven't beaten the story. Like I think Alex literally is in this podcast hasn't beaten the story.
Yep.
So that gates you at level 15. When you beat the story, you'll be level 17. You'll talk to everyone in the tower, and they will automatically level you to 20. So they give you 5 free levels for just beating the story. Which is really important to know, because you don't waste your time trying to level yourself up to 20 yourself when it literally just it's like, all right, you beat the story, here you go.
Yeah.
So once you're level 20, you should be somewhere around light level about 200, and this is when the biggest span of light you have to close happens. Where you have to go from 200 to 265 while also not trying to complete milestones and trying to get there in a way that is efficient as well. So there's 3 things that you can do. If you're like me and Van Aken over there, you'll play some Crucible.
Mhm.
Crucible is a great way. There's an algorithm built into Crucible right now where it prioritizes giving you the gear that you have the lowest light level of. So like if your boots are like 120 and the rest of your gear is 200, the algorithm will try to prioritize giving you a pair of boots that'll be at light level that's more reasonable for you to bring up
Which
your
is
overall light
That's like
level.
new to Destiny, right? Like it didn't.
That's
used to do that.
pretty
That's
new
huge.
to
And that's
Destiny.
huge,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
huge. And a lot of people don't know that it does that. So in Crucible specifically, so that's a really good way. Like if one thing's bringing you down, I recommend go play a match or 2 of Crucible, and maybe you'll get that item. So then there's public events, right? So people have been doing a lot of the public events, and later I can talk about how to, in another episode, I'll talk about how to trigger heroic public events, which are a harder difficulty of public events.
And they're super fun.
But doing
too,
public events they're really fun.
which they weren't.
It's
before,
a great way to get engrams.
which is great.
Yeah, public events were not fun before, and they were super hard to find. They were not just sitting on your map telling you when they were going to spawn.
Yeah.
That was not a thing.
Yeah.
There was
There
a
used to be
website that
There's
existed
a
that
website
that was super inaccurate most of the time.
Yeah. And then you can like go to them before they start, get ready,
Yeah.
and they're fun. It's
It's
great.
like
Mhm.
it's ridiculous. The fact that that's a thing is crazy. But yeah, so you do public events. You basically want to do anything that'll give you an engram, and then because it gives you an engram, you dismantle your old things. You get gunsmith materials, and this is the most important way to get to 265. The gunsmith is your best friend. You're gonna go to him. You're gonna give him all of your gunsmith materials, and he's gonna give you legendary engram after legendary engram after legendary engram. I gave him 15 full levels before I hit 265 of just pouring gunsmith materials into the gunsmith. So fast forward, you get to 265. Woo! Everything in your inventory should starting to become legendary now. You've moved away from the greens and blues. You're now in a place where you have legendary gear, which is like, woo, because it looks cool. Every single one of the people in the tower and your representatives from each planet, their gear score for their engrams will tap out at 265 for a little while. So legendary stuff will stop becoming useful whenever you hit 265. Now is the time to beat your milestones. They give you what are called their special engrams. I think they're like enhanced legendary engrams. They have a white circle in the middle. That's how you know that they're special. You specifically get them from milestones, nightfalls, and important things like that. So these engrams are what's going to boost you past that cap, that soft cap at 265. Exotics will boost you past that soft cap at 265. And then, Cameron, you touched on it a little bit. Your individual planetary blue iconed quests will boost you past 265.
Okay, good deal.
They will drop you weapons that will give you legendaries that'll drop at 270s. The exotics from finishing that quest will drop somewhere around 270, almost 280 sometimes.
Nice.
But
so
you need to reach that soft cap first.
You have to reach that soft cap of 265 to make those quests worth it.
Mhm.
And then now let's say you're 270, right? You're 272, right around, it's somewhere around there. So things are starting to get, a little bit more soft capped again. And you're like, man, it's really, really hard to get any more level unless I get a random exotic and I infuse it into something. But what you'll notice is when you get these exotic drops, you're like, wow, these are dropping at really high light levels. Oh yeah, they're called powerful engrams. Thank you, NATO. The purple engrams that are special are called
Thanks,
powerful engrams. Thanks, chat. But so now you're at this other soft cap right around 272, and you're like, man, it's just like it's rough. But you're getting these exotics that are dropping at really high light levels, and you notice that mods now come into play. So your weapon mods actually do matter if they're legendary. So you put legendary mods onto a legendary gun, it will give it +5 light. Now it doesn't change. It doesn't change the base power of the weapon. So if you have a 275 hand cannon, and you put a legendary mod onto it, it's now a 280 hand cannon.
Nice.
If you get another legendary hand cannon that you like, and it doesn't have a legendary mod on it, and you infuse the one at 280 into the one at 275, it won't do anything because legendary mods don't count towards the base power.
Got it.
Oh.
So don't use legendary mods unless you're in love with that gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a good idea. You will waste it. And you won't be able to remove it from that gun at all. So
Okay.
legendary mods come into really big play whenever you're around 275, getting to 280. Once you hit 280, which is where I'm at now, you unlock the ability with the gunsmith to purchase legendary mods by turning in three blue mods. This is huge because now you get to throw legendary mods on all of your favorite stuff and almost instantly get to 285.
Cool.
Now that you're at 285, your blues and your legendaries from your vendors and reps will drop at 272.
Okay.
So that's the minimum that like raises as you move up. So all that stuff will drop at 272. So now you'll be able to infuse all your favorite stuff into 272. And you can repurchase your exotics from the vault and get those exotics back that you may have used to increase legendary light level to get your light level up. Now is when I recommend right around that point when you hit 275, 280, make another character,
Back
burn
at it
through
again.
that story again, back at it again. Give all, once the second you hit level 20, give all your gear to that character, and then do your nightfall, do your milestones, do all that stuff all over again, so that you can be what I like to call raid ready.
Oh yeah, thank you, Griffin Senpai,
Dang.
rounding us out.
Nice.
That was very interesting. Thank you, Griffin.
Yes.
Succinct
Thank
as
you.
well.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of kids out there, a lot of kids in their homes. Those little 12-year-old kids just trying to be like, I want to be raid ready like Griffin someday. And now you guys know. So I think that is we're pretty much at our time now. I think that's gonna wrap us on Farm to Tower first episode. How you guys feeling?
Good.
Feel good.
It was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Right now we're kind of on like a bi-weekly schedule. Clearly we have a lot to talk about, so I'm sure you'll hear frequent check-ins with us. We might do other things and squeeze more content in, but I hope you like this. If you do, make sure you tell folks about it. Right now we're only on YouTube, but if you really like us, maybe we can get out on podcast services as well.
Yeah, we can probably figure that out.
If need be. So thank you everybody for watching, for hanging out. We love y'all. We will be back. I guess actually real quick, round the table one last time. Griffin, where can people find more of you and follow you?
I'm Griffin Senpai on just about everything. GRIFFINSENPAI, all one word. You can get me on Twitter. I have a stream on Mixer where I focus on teaching people how to be better at the game that I'm playing. Usually it was Overwatch. Now it's going to be Destiny 2, so you're going to be able to catch me on that soon. I'm moving to San Francisco at the end of the month, so that's exciting. But so my stream's going to be down for a little while until I get all settled with the move. But once we get towards the end of the month, I'll be rolling through the Crucible, and I'll be able to talk about all my favorite guns. Hashtag meet a multi-tool, hashtag meet a mini-tool.
Are you trying to do the world record for the raid? Is that a thing that you guys are going to be?
I linked up with the guy who's in charge of Guardian Con, the guy who makes the Destiny convention that happens every year. That's like his brainchild. His raid group is on PS4. I linked up with him, and we're probably going to run the raid 3 times in a row the second it comes out.
Okay. Good
on
luck.
all our characters. So
Yeah.
I'll be raiding. I'll maybe throw up my stream for that too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That'll be
Yeah, that's
interesting to
nice.
watch. Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
rad. So good luck. I'm sure you guys are going to kill it. So, and then hopefully you can run it just for fun with me when I'm
Yeah. Of course.
dumb and hanging out. Alex Van Aken, where can folks find more of you?
Yeah, you can find me at okbeast.com. I co-host the Pixel Pulse Radio podcast, which I'm recording right after this. And then you can follow me on Twitter at It's Van Aken. That's ITSVANAKEN. That's about it.
What guests are you guys having on?
We are having Chase Williams at Bodacious Chase.
Nice.
He's a associate producer at PlayStation and host of the Witty Banter podcast.
Cool. Cameron, you as well. Round us out.
Yeah, no, I'm Cameron Abbott. I'm the Unsexiest Comedian. You can follow me at Unsexiest Comedy. That's Unsexiest Comedy. You can also follow me on Instagram. I host the Naughty Gamers podcast. You can follow us at Naughty Gamers on Twitter, facebook.com/Naughty Gamers. If you want to listen to the podcast, it's available on every single podcast network you can find. Find your favorite app, use us, find us, rate us, subscribe to us. Trying to think if there's anything else. No.
No, and that's KNOTTY. You filthy, filthy
yeah. You
kids out
per.
there.
It's about we're complicated. That's why it's KNOTTY.
Mhm.
It's definitely not a double entendre, and it's definitely not about us being perverts because we're not. We just had episode 69.
Nice. I am Alex O'Neill, your moderator this evening. You can follow me on Twitter at AlFighter27. I hopefully will be streaming some Destiny on twitch.tv/Irrational Passions. I host the Irrational Passions podcast, the podcast about video games. We talked about Destiny on our 344th episode, which you can watch right here on youtube.com/Irrational Passions or other places and whatnot. Feel free to give that a listen if you like video games. But that's all we got. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. We appreciate you, and go farm some legendary weapons, guys.